All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone to tell us this truth, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. And the elect begins with 144,000. Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah, BAHASHAM is in the name. YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The Rakakwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. I'm the brother Iwalumia with the GMS Chicago, camp out here in Chicago. Come back at you, brothers and sisters of the household of faith of the Hopeful Right Select with another lesson. And Lord willing, I hope this lesson be edifying through the spirit and power of Yahawah Shai. Once again, I hope this lesson is edifying. As you can see the title, it's just basically off an idiotic statement that the Bishop Nathaniel ultimately said a few years ago, man, regarding, the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. And I'm gonna grab that in Revelations the 13th chapter. But he said, what? It's June. There's no microchip. But if you ultimately look at what's going on in the world today, it's evident that Esau Edom is building up this digital system, ultimately headed by the RFID chip, man, which is going to be used for what? All sorts of buying and selling. It's going to be the new system that's going to be set up into place, man. And we're in the final, you know, moments of that system being fully, implemented, man. You know, but ultimately, man, hey, Esau Edom is ultimately doing a squeeze so he can ultimately implement that system, man. You know, he's ultimately what, putting the squeeze upon the people, having everybody, using surveillance, ultimately, basically ushering everybody into that digital system, man. And ultimately, what Esau William wants to know where everybody is at all times by the way of the RFID chip, man. You know, so these different things are happening because what Esau Edom is trying to, is ushering the people into that digital system, man. But I'm not going to waste any time. This is the book of Revelations 13, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. Uh, and he deceived them that I'm gonna start at 13. Revelations 13 and 13. And it reads, I'm going to start at 12, Revelation 13 and 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast who deadly wound was healed, right? And that deadly wound was healed, talking about what? The Roman Empire, man, coming back in the form of America, man. Because what you had the Roman Empire that went down for a season and ultimately what was, that came back during the Renaissance period, in the form of Americas and Daniels. It talks about that little horn, man. Verse 14. Verse 13, it says, he doeth great wonders, so he that so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And right, he did that, when he dropped those atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, man. Verse 14, and he says, in a reason, deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they shall make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And what is the image of the beast, man? Ultimately, what? The New World Order, man. That patent by the, what's that? The Roman system, man. Because ultimately, they're trying to get everybody to bow down to this digital system, man. Because Esau Edom is ultimately what? He's ultimately trying to implement that New World Order, man. And the New World Order is ultimately going to be headed by that chip, man, which is actually going to get into verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast shall both speak and cause that as many as shall not worship the image of the beast shall be killed, man. So ultimately, if you're not down with this digital system, you're going to be what? Crossed out from the society. And ultimately, what? You're going to be labeled as what? A T. If you're not down with this digital system, man. If you're not down with what the technocrats are doing, if you're not down with what Esau Edom is doing about what? Ultimately, what? Surveillance, putting a digital device under the skin, man, you're going to be labeled a T. You're going to be X'd out of society. You're going to be, what they will say, left behind, man. Verse 16, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. And going into that word mark, it goes into the word charagma, which goes into what? Incision. Because what? Esau Edom wants to insert an electronic device under the skin, a chip under the skin, man. Verse 16, it says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And who is the he, man? The elites of this society, man. The top banking families, that ultimately what controls all, your different assets and different things of this world, man. So what? They have the power to ultimately to do that, man. This is what they're doing right now. They're pushing, that the chip among the masses, man. We're seeing what? People getting chipped. It's a thing called the Neuralink. Ultimately different test runs and things like that. But it's going to come a time where what? Esau Edom is strategically, putting a squeeze upon these people, purposely crashing this system to ultimately what? To bring in that new system, man. that digital system. Ultimately, patent, ahead of it is going to be that RFID chip, man. To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, where I had mentioned the Neuralink, man. That was ultimately, structured by Elon Musk. Verse 17 says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So right, this RFID chip is going to be used for everyday business, everyday buying and selling, man. If you want to do any type of business in this society, that's to come. Hey, ultimately, what you're going to have, needed an RFID chip under the skin, man. You know, and this is what these different prophets, these different groups, that's proclaiming themselves to be prophets is not teaching their congregation about, man. They're ultimately, as I'm gonna get in that First Corinthians 14, they're ultimately playing an uncertain sound, man. They're not truly warning their congregation. They're not warning their people, man. They're not delivering the people the right message, man. And it's evident, man. We could be what as Elder Apostle Zahar say, man, in months from this thing getting fully implemented across the four corners of the world, man. But these different groups are playing about what the mark of the beast is, man. You know, so when this thing do happen, man, what their congregation is going to be asking them these different questions, like what is going on? You said it was this, that, and the fourth, but ultimately, what this chip is getting implemented. What we do, a lot of these individuals is not going to have the answers that they're looking for, man. And it's going to be well too late, man. And ultimately, what these different members that's a part of these different congregations, they're going to want blood, man. Being lied to, you know. And that's what a lot of these different individuals get for following these people, man. They got 5 to 10 different breakdowns of what the mark of the beast is, man. So that was an idiotic statement that the Bishop Nathaniel said a few years ago, man. Let's grab this in Habakkuk. I'm not going to make this a long lesson. There's a few points I wanted to hit, But hey, it's evident that we're in the final stages of that digital system being implemented, man. We just because ultimately Esau Edom is just looking for the right, situation to push it, forward, man. The right, false flag event. You know, let's actually grab this because this is what Esau Edom wants to do, man, and it's being made known right before our face, man. Hey, whoever has the ears to hear and the eyes to see, ultimately, what the Lord is ultimately making big moves right now, man. This digital system is being pushed to the forefront. But it's the book of Habakkuk 2. I'm gonna just start at the top. Point is in verse 4. Habakkuk 2:1. It says, "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and when I shall answer when I am reproved." Because we're watching into our people. We're ultimately what reporting on the said things that we see, lining them up with biblical prophecy and what giving it to our people, man. And the Lord answered me and said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it." So if you ultimately understand these things, man, hey, run with it, man. Because ultimately, what? Only the true prophets, starting with thy elders and apostles, a great millstone, is giving you the true message, man. A lot of these different camps are beating around the fence, man. Not ultimately what? Not, sharing the people of the things that's to come, man. Hiding different things from the people that, these different people that listen to them, man. And ultimately what? These different individuals that's calling themselves prophets, they're going to pay for that, man. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right, ultimately talking about the prophecies, man. And the major prophecy that's ultimately waiting to come to pass fully is that RFID chip, man. It's going to be the forefront of that digital system, man. And ultimately it talks about, those that get that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, is a heavy judgment for that, man. You read Revelations 14, it talks about, they shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahawah, with this poured out without mixture, man. Ultimately, what? They're going to be what? Destroyed by that thermonuclear destruction, man. And this is, what these different camps is not teaching their congregation, man. What is these different camps ultimately teaching, man? They're not teaching the people about Jacob's trouble. Hey, mainly, they're not teaching the people about the RFID chip and the things that's to come, man. The squeeze that Esau Edom is about to bring upon the people, man, which is happening right now. And it's going to continue to happen until that chip gets implemented worldwide. These different camps is not warning their congregation of the things that's to come, man. Let's continue. Verse 4 says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Right. Who is the soul that is not uplifted right in him? Hey, Esau Edom, man. He's the devil, man. And he's going to continue to show his horns, man, as what? As this society continues to collapse, man. As he ultimately continue to push those unrighteous decrees, those draconian laws, man. And it says what? The just shall live by faith, talking about the elect, man, because ultimately the elect will ultimately see these said things and ultimately what? Run unto what? YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI for their protection. Verse 5, it says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, right? Talking about those philosophies. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and then as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And right, just like the Tower of Babel, how they ultimately tried to implement a new world order back then. Esau was trying to implement a new world order now, by ultimately what? Ultimately having everybody heap unto him by the way of that Arfadisha, man. He had know where the people is at all times. He had know what you're doing at all times. He wants the power of the Most High, man. He wants to be like the Most High. And this is what these different camps is not teaching their congregation, man. Hey, this is the main, prophecy to come to pass before the destruction and downfall of America, man. But you don't see Bishop Nathaniel talking about these things. You don't see Wi-Fi talking about these things. You don't see ISUPK ultimately harping on these said things, man. Hey, best believe it's June and there's plenty of microchips, man. Let's actually grab one more, man. The one I had quoted. Because a lot of these camps is playing an uncertain tune, man. A false message, giving the people a false message, man. And the Lord is going to visit these false camps for that. Let me see. Yep, 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 6, and I'm going to end it off with this. Now, brethren, if I come unto you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you, except I shall speak to you either by revelation, or by knowledge, or by prophesying, or by doctrine, and even things without life, giving Salakia. Verse 7 says, even things without life, giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction give a distinction in the sounds. How shall it be known what is piped or harp? For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? And right, we have to make sure we're giving the people a proper sound, man, which is what? The truth, man. You have a lot of these camps giving the people an uncertain sound. Ultimately, what? Going into different prophecies wrong, man. Not uttering the people the truth. Ultimately saying the mark of the beast is this, that, and the fourth, man. Not saying it's the RFID chip, man. So what? These different camps, and Bishop Nathaniel is a big example of that. Ultimately, what? Harping that uncertain sound, man. Confusing the people. The people don't know what to believe because a lot of these people are really zombies, man, that's following these different camps, man. So what? These different camps is ultimately playing an uncertain tune, man. A false message. It's not aligning up right, man. Who you want to get the truth, from, man? Start with our elders and apostles of great millstone, who will tell you the 100% truth of what's going on and how it links up with biblical prophecy today, man. Hey, really concerning that RFID chip, man, which is moments away of what coming to pass across the four corners of the world, man. Verse 9, it says, so likewise ye except ye utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For ye shall speak into the air. Right, so we ultimately have to play the correct tune, man. We have to give the people the correct message, man. We can't be out here saying any and every fucking thing, man. We have to give the people the right message of what's to come, how to better prepare themselves, and ultimately what to do, man. And it begins with ultimately what? Teaching the people the truth, man, and how to ultimately better prepare themselves, man, which is these other camps is not doing, man. Hey, so this is a very important prophecy, man. We see it, being unfold right before our eyes, man. The RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. So with that being said, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to end out by giving all praise and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kapodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. Lord willing, I hope this lesson was edifying. Until next time, Kwame Yasharallah, Shalom, and a Bible ball. Until next time, Lord willing.